Hi friends, welcome back to the Reverence Meditation Studio. In this knowledge session, we have very important topic, and that is none other than what is God. Very interesting topic, right? So whatever I am going to talk is my thorough study of Advaita Vedanta knowledge for past 6 years. And I have been studying Swami Vivekananda, Gurudev, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, Sadguru. So based on the knowledge and the studies, I will be able to explain this topic in a very simple format, because you will have a lot of videos on YouTube. I will try to simplify the things. Now, from childhood, we have the curiosity. What is God? We see a lot of idols, images, a lot of representation of God, and sometimes this question struck our mind and we try to investigate, and we don't get the answers which satisfy our intellect, and that's the reason, and that's the objective of this session. Now, to understand the answer, the first and very important point is we do need to go beyond logic and reason. We need to go beyond intellect. So basically, to understand this question, we need to go beyond logic, reason and intellect. Why do I say so? Because guys, when we openly see in the nature, in the universe, there are countless things which might not make sense to the intelligence, but those things still work, they exist, and we cannot find the why part with your logic and reason. So this universe is divided into two things, just to categorize. There is a microcosmos, the minute of minute things, very small things, and the macrocosmos, the solar systems, the stars, galaxies and black holes. So in this universe, you go in any direction, there is a diversity, and when you look at, let's say, the trees, the animals, the human being, and so many things happening around you, if you just use this dimension of logic, reason and intellect, you might not be able to get the answers. So we have to cross this dimension. That is number one thing. Now again, just to stress on this point, because satisfying intellect is very difficult thing. So just to give you an example, let's say in the macrocosmos, we say the universe or the galaxies are so chaotic, but still if you look at our solar system, things are so orderly. All the planets are rotating around the sun in their respective orbits with the respective velocities. Same with our mother earth, it sustains the life with the energy getting from sun. So these things are kind of a food and a question to our intellect to understand. The science, it discovers whatever is already there. It discovers, it explains you the how part. See, science is very important. We need to be curious, we need to know the science, and we need to explore. But for example, gravitational force, the apple fell down and Newton said it fell down because there is a gravitational force. So it told you that there is a force, but force already existed million billion years ago and it will still exist. Science doesn't have to be there for force to exist. It doesn't need any approval of science, but science will tell you, and it will name the things around you, then it will name the objects, etc. So the why part, why there is a gravitational force, what is the need, all these questions are indescribable. So these big questions certainly need a different dimension of understanding, and we need to go beyond and look at it. Now let's come back to the main topic. What is God? Now Vedic sciences, they say God is not an object of worship. Let me take a pause here so that you understand. God is not an object of worship. It is not an object. It is actually a subject to understand. Now we have so many idols, so many images, representation, but that is the first stage to understand the God. It is very important to have images and idols, because mind needs a constant reminder about the God, about that power, so that it investigates further. The seeker at a very first stage, it needs some kickstart. So this is the first stage. But then what Vedic science says? It is not an object of worship. Now what is it? The God, as per the science, Vedic science, it says that God is the consciousness. The consciousness which is in me, which is in you, which is in everyone else, not only in humans, it is in plants, it is in trees, it is in animals, in every particle of the universe. And that is God. So whatever we see and whatever we understand, everything exists in the God, right? We are not different from the God. So we actually are born, we exist, and we dissolve in God. So God means a supreme consciousness, Brahman, the power within you and the consciousness within you and everything else. That is the God. And this is the second stage of understanding what is God. The formless part of this consciousness is God. Formless. Just to give you a simple example to understand what is formless and what is form, let's take an example of a gold. When the gold is in melted format, or the gold biscuits, so it is actually formless. Now when you make ornaments out of it, we make necklace, we make bangles, and we make so many things, and then we identify gold as ornaments, but essentially it is all gold, right? So in the same way, the consciousness, the formless part, when it takes a form, we identify ourselves as, my name is this, I am so and so, I am an engineer, I am a doctor, and then we forget who we really are. And that is the irony. Another example, these examples are from the books, So basically the wave in the ocean is essentially an ocean. That's what all the Upanishad, they give this example. So the wave is a form, but it is essentially the part of the ocean, which is the, we can say consciousness. This is the explanation of form and formless. So this formless consciousness, which has no start, which has no end, it is called as Ananta and Anadi. Anadi means it doesn't have any start, and if it is not having any start, it doesn't end. Ananta and Anadi. That formless consciousness is God. Now when it takes a form, it is called as Nama and Rupa, name and form. When it takes a form, what happens is we get identified with only form, and then we forget what exists beneath and beyond. And that is the whole confusion which has been caused centuries and centuries, where we cannot clearly understand what is God. But the true seeker in the first stage, it takes a form, worships it, but he doesn't stop there. His curiosity is still there. And then when again, as I said, the logic and the reason, when these things are quietened with meditation, with the true understanding, with the true knowledge, we go to the different plane of existence, different plane of thought, where you get the answers. So this knowledge, it is not something which has been scientifically studied with books, etc. They say these seeker, they became seer. In meditation, they transcended to the level where the complexities could be understood and the answers will be gotten. So these are the seer. All these rishis and saints, they were the seer of this true knowledge. They understood the Satchitananda, and this whole Brahman consciousness is the ultimate God. Now, as the last and beautiful part is, if everything is God, obviously that everything is also in me, that consciousness is also in me. So I am the God. So this is the third and last stage of understanding the God. So first stage is, we separate the God, then we understand everything is God, and then the last stage is, it is in me, that consciousness is in me, that consciousness is in everything. Let's take an example of a seed. We plant the seed, and that seed has an intelligence of the entire tree. Our DNA has intelligence of an entire body, and these are the the beauties of consciousness. So this subject is very difficult, guys, to even explain. And when you watch the video first time, if you have not encountered this kind of knowledge earlier, it's little hard, but time and again our rishis and saints, they have documented this in the scriptures. They have already explained it, but it is forgotten. It's very easy to understand. I mean, if you keenly and sincerely start observing anything and everything around you, you will see the consciousness is everywhere, and that is the God. God is everything, and we exist in that, and eventually we are that. So there is a Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi, you are that. What does it mean? You are that consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi, meaning I am that Brahman, I am that God. And that's what Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Vivekananda, Raman Maharshi, Gurudev Ravi Shankar, everyone is explaining that Advaita knowledge and philosophy, to let you know, or to let us all know what is God, and to enlighten us so that we become the true seeker and we find the ultimate answer. So thank you, friends, for your time. I tried my best to explain the answer. Thank you so much.